People always talk about overcoming weaknesses. Yeah, I just said, if you got something that's not working, then quit doing it. Lassie could figure that out. But let's talk about your strengths. I play tennis every day and I've got a pretty good backhand. I spend time every day, every week, working on my backhand. It's probably my best shot, but I spend time working on it. I practice my strengths. If you have something you're good at, make it better. Make it a weapon. Make it something that you can really rely on. So maybe you're good with people. Maybe you're good at problem recognition. Maybe you're good at problem solving. Maybe you're good at motivating people. Maybe you're good at solving things, calming people down. Maybe you have irate customers that come into work or whatever, and you can step up and calm the situation down. Then you need to really hone that. Identify your strengths and know what they are so you can play to them. And this leads to number 2 in your playbook. You must create a perception of uniqueness. You must create a perception of uniqueness. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, you do not want to be a face in the crowd. You don't want to be a robot. You don't want to be an interchangeable person in a relationship, at your job, anywhere. If you're just a random person that, yes, this person can be here, get another person to be here, it doesn't make much difference. There are a lot of jobs like that. Jobs that like anybody can do. It doesn't matter. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not for you. If you want to improve your life, you have to create a perception of uniqueness. And I'm saying perception of uniqueness because it doesn't do any good to be unique if people don't perceive that you're unique. You've got to make sure they recognize your uniqueness. You may have some unique skill, but if nobody knows it but you, what good is it? So you have to decide unique. What is it about you? You don't want to just be in the middle of the herd. You don't want to blend into the background. If you want to be a winner, you need to find, embrace, and project those things that set you apart from the herd, set you apart from everybody else. Uniqueness is valuable in so many different respects. And I'm one of those people that believes in a defined product. A defined product. You cannot be all things to all people. I think you have to be a defined product. People need to know what they get when they get you. I have subscribed to this philosophy my entire life, including right now. When people say, Dr. Phil, when I say it to you right now, Dr. Phil, just think about what that calls to mind. Now, in that you're listening to this, I hope it's something positive, or maybe you tune in because you love to hate me. That's okay, because I don't have a need to be loved by strangers. But when you think of Dr. Phil, I'll bet you don't confuse me with anybody else. Now, there are other psychologists out there, there are other shrinks out there, there are other mental health professionals out there, but I'll bet you don't confuse me with any of them. I'll guarantee you there are psychologists in America that have forgotten more psychology than I'll ever know. But they forgot about learning how to communicate it. I've got some of them on my advisory board because I'll call them up. It'll be something really complex or whatever, and I think, okay, I want to make sure I've got this right. I want to make sure I've got the cutting edge information. And these men and women are the editors for the peer review journals. So I know they've got access to research that won't be published for another 18 months. So I don't give cutting edge information. I give ahead of cutting edge information. What research has shown that you can get from Dr. Phil that you won't see in the journals for another year and a half. So I'm talking about OCD. Believe me, I've got up to the minute information because I talk to people that know more about it than I do. There are some people that spend their entire career on that one disorder. I don't. but I know who does. And so I bring those experts in. Now, when I say you're not going to confuse me with anybody else, there are people out there like John Gray. John Gray wrote Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, or whatever the title of it was. I know John, very nice guy, a lot of wisdom, but you're not going to confuse the two of us because he's going to pat your hand and tell you it's going to be okay and why, and he's very effective at what he does. But we're very different. We're very different. You're not going to confuse me with him. You're not going to confuse him with me. I believe in a defined product. Look, you may think my defined product is I'm a barbarian. You may think I'm the second coming of common sense. And you're probably both a little bit right. But you don't confuse me. And that's what I want you to decide. What is it about you that's unique? What is it about you that sets you apart from the rest of the herd? And here's the thing. Think about your life as a movie. Not as a snapshot, because a snapshot can be any day, any moment, any time. Like we get a snapshot of you when you've got the flu and think, man, this old boy's looked pretty rough. This old gal's seen better days. Because we catch you at your worst time. You just thrown your guts up and you feel like hell. And we just get a snapshot of you and could way underestimate you. So you got to think of your life as a movie, not as a still frame. And movies have scripts. They have beginnings, they have middles, they have ends. And your life is that way. Your life is a process. It has a beginning and a middle and an end. So let's talk about the script of your life. Where are you in it right now? If you're listening to this, it's not in the beginning. I'm guessing you're not on the way to 7th grade, unless your mom's driving you and you're having to listen to this on the way, and for that, I apologize. So you're probably at least in your 20s, maybe your 30s or 40s. So you're into the movie. Let's talk about the script from here forward. And here's the main thing I want to ask you. Are you starring in your own life? Are you the star in your life? Because if you don't star in your own life, who is? If you're not starring in your own life, for God's sakes, who is? Now, I don't care if you are a plumber or a butcher or a baker or a candlestick maker or a janitor or a car mechanic or an accountant, a school teacher. It doesn't matter what you do. That's not who you are. That's what you do. You have to star in your own life. And in every movie, there's somebody in the lead, right? There's somebody that's in the lead. When they run the promos, there's somebody in those promos. And then there's a supporting cast. And you have to star in your own life. So act like it by embracing your authentic self. Treat yourself like a star. Deal with yourself like you're a unique individual. Because I promise you, when I meet people, I think one thing. They know themselves better than I do. How do they feel about themselves? Now, I figure I might know them a little bit or maybe a lot, but I don't know them as well as they know themselves. And if they treat themselves like crap, I figure, well, they know something I don't. They must not be worthy of being treated better because they know themselves better than I do, so I have to defer. They have a low self-image, poor self-esteem. I figure, who better than they to know what they deserve? Why would I question that? So where are you in the movie of your life? Are you the star? And are you embracing that image, that authentic self? How unique are you? And let me say this, if you don't feel unique, then maybe it's time to reinvent yourself. And you can do that without abandoning who you are, because we all have a range of traits, skills, abilities, and the capability to move within that range. Reinvention may mean changing everything from your look to what you do, where you do it, or the way you engage people. It may mean changing your focus to the goals you seek to attain. It may mean taking those strengths I was talking about and really building on those. In one of the earlier Living by Designs, I talked about putting things on project status, not just having an awareness, but putting things on project status. It's like you can be aware that the garage needs painting, but it ain't going to get painted until you put it on project status, until you say, this weekend, we're painting the damn garage. That means no later than Thursday, we're going by Home Depot or Walmart, and we're going to get however much paint we need, and we're going to get drop cloths and brushes and rollers and whatever all we need, and we're going to have it there because when we get home Friday, we're going to paint the damn garage. It's going to take a couple of days, so we got to let it dry and put on coats or whatever, but we're going to paint it. That's our project this weekend. So no, we're not going to go play tennis. No, we're not going to the movies. No, we're not going to the zoo. We're painting the garage. That's our project for this weekend. That's when the garage will get painted and not before. That's when you will become unique and not before. When you put it on project status, that's when you will become unique. That's when you will star in your own life and not before. And like I say, maybe that involves reinventing yourself. Every season, when we wrap production of Dr. Phil, everybody takes 2 or 3 weeks and they kind of decompress and go do other things. But then we start meeting, not intensively at first, but we start meeting with the sole purpose of reinventing ourselves for the next year. What can we do to tell our stories better? What can we do to get our message across better? What do we need to attack that we haven't attacked full on before? This summer, for example, we cannot avoid the fact that the opioid crisis has reached epidemic proportions. And we are the sole platform that devotes all 60 minutes of the hour to mental health. We absolutely delve into that. How do we do that effectively? How do we get people's attention? How do we educate without seeming pedantic about it? How do we deal with this in ways that we can motivate people for prevention and intervention? That was one of the things that we talked about. We're reinventing how we're approaching those stories, how we're dealing with this epidemic. And it involves taking it beyond our platform. Robin and I testified before a bipartisan committee on Capitol Hill about this last year. We're going to do some more of that this year. They've invited us back to talk about enabling some legislation for this. So we're reinventing ourselves to be relevant to what's going on. How about you? What can you take on? What do you need to do that's different? If you do the same thing over and over and over, then you get comfortable with it. It may be producing some results for you, but is it producing all the results you want?